Hey guys, Project Zacher here. Today I'm going to show you my build for my Duel Spark Templar. So first thing I do is I run a couple of auras. I run Purity and Clarity with reduced mana. I also run Summon Skeleton and Summon Zombie, both linked with Minion life. I also have a few curses linked. I have Enfeeble, and I also have Elemental Weakness. I also have Molten Shell with increased duration, Enduring Cry. I have my alternate Spark I'm leveling up. It was a quality one. The one I'm using right now is just a regular one. I also have a few miscellaneous gems, Enduring Cry and such. And then for my Fire Trap, I have linked Item Quantity and Item Quality. That's my last hit. And then for the Spark, I use Fork, Lightning Pen, Spell Totem, Faster Casting, and of course Spark. And then the sixth thing I would want to put on there, if I could, would be Culling Strike. Now for the talent tree, start off as a Templar, obviously. And the big point that makes this all work, of course, is Ancestral Bond. I typically get this around level 60, 65. Before that, I'm usually going with Ice Nova or Fireball as my main source of damage. Also, it's good to try to get as many health nodes as possible. So usually at the beginning of the tree, I just try to grab all the health nodes. Also, Inner Force is great for buffs. It gives you 30% when you get all three of those points. So when you get your energy shield, it's even higher. Static Blows, of course, necessary for this to shock stack. And Minion Instability does great damage for when you're summoning skeletons around a boss and it just one-shots them and they immediately explode to deal a ton of damage. I also have a couple random lightning damage nodes every once in a while. And also the Minion of the Dead, which is great for helping out your casting. I also just grabbed more health nodes on my way over to the Witch. And then after the Witch, I grabbed a bunch of energy shield also. I just want to be as tanky as possible. And then we head over to the Shadow Tree. And I'm going to be grabbing that 5% more chance to crit here. In a couple levels, I'm going to respec and then grab a few more health points and a few crit points, really to start topping off the damage. So now that we got an idea of the skill tree, let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of content. So I basically cannot deal damage with regular attacks. So what I do to deal damage is I use traps, skeletons, zombies, and then also my totems. So what I typically run around with is 4 zombies, and then I'll drop 2 totems, Enduring Cry and Elemental Curse everything, and then just wait for my totems to kill everything down. Also, I've run 2 health pots, 2 granites, and a Quicksilver. I have so much mana regen with Clarity that I don't need to worry about a mana pot. The only time I do run a mana pot is on 50% regen maps. If I'm doing maps, it's very important. Otherwise, you're not able to spam all your skills you want to. But the majority of this build is you kind of need to just be able to be mobile. That's why I like this build so much. I'm able to move around the entire time. I don't have to stand still to attack or kite or anything. I just simply drop my totems, curse everything, and then just wait for it to die, run around to the next pack. Also for large mobs, for rares, I use Fire Trap, and that'll just burn through their health very quickly. It's a pretty safe build. You can get yourself into danger by playing a little bit too aggressively. I've had a few close calls when I'll just drop totems, run in, aggro everything, and then get down really quickly. That's why I run 2 instant heal pots to keep me from getting in those super dangerous situations. But for the majority of it, you're going to drop your 2 totems, drop your Elemental Curse, and then just watch the enemy's health bars drop. It's pretty consistent damage for the Sparks. They don't hit all the time, but with Fork, you're putting out so many of them that it doesn't really matter. Damage on Dual Spark Totems is pretty good. When you shock stack, that's when your damage really starts to increase. And in order to do that, you need a high amount of damage. So Lightning Pen is great because it gives your shock so much more base damage. More than added lightning, which I was using before. because Lightning Pen will increase your damage by a percentage, whereas added lightning is only a base. So the hardest thing to do in this build is heavy health mobs. So like rocks or anything like that. They're harder to bring down just because your single target damage isn't very good. Just because fire traps is the only thing you're really big on single target. Bear trap is okay, but I don't have enough dex to run high level bear trap. But since fire trap is intelligence dex based, I can level that all the way up to 20 no problem to get the full effect out of it. I also, when I get a 4-link, I want to use concentrated effect on my fire trap to make it do even better single target damage. That'll increase the damage by like 50%, but it'll have a smaller AoE. I also run the Enfeeble curse. This is what I use for like higher level maps if I'm scared of getting hit real hard. It decreases all the mobs' attack speed, cast speed, crit chance, and then just all around damage. Right now it does like 30% damage decrease for mobs, so it's really good to use for any type of map that has a lot of hard hitting. But typically right now I'm just running through 66, 67 maps. I do occasionally higher ones, but right now I'm just farming low ones, so we just do them as quickly as possible, so we're not too much worried about survivability, especially when doing Lunar's Temple level 3 is nowhere where I would use Enfeeble Elemental just to clear everything quickly. The great thing about this build is you don't have to worry about Elemental Reflect, because you deal no damage yourself, so you cannot get hurt by Elemental Reflect. It's also important to make sure that you have your zombies. Your zombies are like a big buffer. It just gives something else for the mobs to attack, and they'll typically just stand right around you. So they're not used for an offensive ability. They're more just bodyguards that run around with you. Sometimes I forget to summon them, and that's when you can get into a little bit of trouble. And then, like I said before, skeletons, I only use those if there's like a boss or something that I really just do not want to get close to. So I'll just spam skeletons around the boss, and he won't even get to move. He'll just be busy attacking those skeletons, and I can summon 2 at a time, and I can summon up to 8. Now as far as auras, right now I'm only running Purity and Clarity, but later on I will be running also Grace and Discipline if I drop Purity. The reason I would drop Purity is once your gear is good enough that your elemental resist capped. The reason you want to get Discipline is a bigger energy shield, of course. Plus, when you use Inner Force and the energy shield talents I have on my tree, it might only have a base of 200, but I get about 500 energy shield from using Discipline. And it's just a small amount of mana. So here you see an example of just summon skeletons to keep everything away from me. If you want to just be completely safe. It's slower, of course, because sparks don't travel through the skeletons. And a couple times, if you surround a mob with skeletons, it won't attack. Alright guys, that's the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.